So chapter 3 is a focus on what's it calls at the beginning discipline focus and changing our perspectives of teaching in the respect of moving away from a discipline focus to a more engagement focused classroom. And to start off, let's look at what discipline focus looks like. And it's what we're all familiar with. As the chapter says, it's punishment versus reinforcement. You reinforce the positive behaviors, you punish the negative behaviors. And that is how it's been done for a while. And what they found is that doesn't work as well as what we would like. And what we mean by that is that the blame is placed on the student under this system, and students aren't looked at as to why the system is causing them to have this issue. It is all on the student themselves. And this isn't very good. And the chapter goes on to talk about reframing our ideas about how we should view classroom behavioral issues. And in table 3.2 in the chapter, one of the things they talk about is hyperactive children. And the old way is the child is hyperactive and disobedient. Reframing that as a child has a great deal of energy and is an independent thinker. This is a great reframing because now you're giving a positive image to the student, and that can be worked with. Now, with this reframing, the chapter does go on to talk about there is a linear line of, at one end you have the discipline focus, and at the other end you have what's called engagement focus, but there is one in the middle called reward and routine focus, and that one is kind of a step up from the discipline base, but still has some of the same idea. The big change, though, that is here is that unlike the discipline focused, as the text says, the reward and routine focused teachers try to understand the reasons behind the students' behavior. Why are they looking for attention or something like that? And you give praise and encouragement, acknowledgement of effort in order to try and pull students into doing the behaviors that we want to see as teachers. However, going on later in the chapter, this form of management still focuses on the fact that students are viewed as things to be molded, controlled, and all that. However, the last part of it was about engagement focus, and that is one that views the students as humans that are subjects of action and responsibility as quoted in the text. And they quote this and they talk about this being consistent with cultural responsiveness. And what they mean by this is the fact that with engagement focus, you are focused on making sure all the students are included, and you're not singling out students who maybe in their culture are behaving correctly, but for some, because you have your own ideas about behavior from your personal background and are putting it on them, and it creates this clash. By being engaging for the students in a classroom, giving them an environment where they can be engaged with reading or whatever activity you're doing, it gives them the opportunity to show that they are part of the class, and it also leads to situations of students not having as much behavioral issues. And because they're not having these behavioral issues that are stemming from a cultural clash, we as teachers can build a, as the chapter calls it, a humanizing relationship, but which happens over time, and it allows the students to learn and make the learning student focused instead of teacher focused. Having now read this chapter, I have found myself to be in the reward and routine focused area of the spectrum. And as the chapter asks at the end is, where would you like to be? Where would I want to be? engagement focus is where I would like to be, as it is very useful in a chemistry situation, as if you can have students working in activities and they're engaged, that can build the curiosity that drives science, and maybe, just maybe, it'll make chemistry fun, because chemistry class for a lot of students is very anxiety inducing because it's considered a hard class.